So, how can education benefit our lives? Well, it really depends on how you see education. But before I get into that, we have to look at what is the importance of education. Well, it depends on how you see it. Some parents will see it as in student loans. Or another group of people will just see it as putting your kid into school, and then after they graduate university, they're gonna get a degree, and then that's all your worries are gone. Well, wrong. These two factors are absolutely incorrect. Education is not a simplistic ordeal. Education is more like a very complex thing that humans has yet to understand, because education is a never-ending process that we're obviously never going to reach the end. We're going to grow. Education is going to keep growing. Humans are going to be smarter in the future. You're going to look at humans back then, like tens of thousands of years ago. Do we even have the knowledge or education to make things like smartphones, iPads, computers, or even lights, or even a house, something that basic tens of thousands of years ago up until now? Education is absolutely very much important in our lives, because if we don't have education, we won't be living like this. We won't be as smart as we are right now. We won't know how to hold a spoon and eat by ourselves. So now that we have a basic look on how important education is and how big education can be, let's look at how it can benefit our lives. Well, education can benefit our lives in many ways. It depends on our goal. But like I said, education is a never-ending process. And if you're going to see education as a goal to reach, that is wrong. You have to look at your own goal, and then you can look onto education. Oh, I want to be a doctor, so it means I have to go to med school, and then I have to not fear blood. I have to look at organs. I have to learn surgical needs. I have to learn all of that stuff. Or you want to be a farmer. You are going to take past experiences from your ancestor. You're going to ask your ancestors, your father who's a farmer, for advice. That can also count as education. Education can benefit our lives in so many ways, because education teaches us to be a whole better person in general. But, of course, there's also the bad side of education, where you live in an environment that is not as good as the one you're living in. For example, maybe that environment is controlled by bad governors or brainwashed people who will brainwash you into doing bad things, and they will educate you with the bad things that they have been taught through their ancestors and so on. That is one bad side, because before you can have a good life with education, first comes is your mindset. You need to have an open mind. You need to look at things from different perspectives first before you can judge, and so on. It just keeps going. And because of that, education is a really big thing. You cannot see it as a simple ordeal at all. Education is way much bigger than what you think. And the way it benefits our lives, it just benefits in so many ways. It's really uncountable. I can raise one example in perhaps, okay, you are in a village that doesn't have a school, or you don't have a school nearby, and you don't have a car. You're just really poor. But does that stop you from educating yourself? Of course not. You can go to the local library and just read some books, or you can just learn hunting if you live in a place that requires hunting animals to live, and so on. So to conclude, how can education benefit our lives? It can benefit our lives in so many ways, like I said, because education makes us grow. It's a never-ending process. It will never end, literally. And it just helps us grow to be a better person in general, to have an open mind, to have a bigger perspective on so many things. So, yes, education is important. Yes, education can put so much benefits in our lives. And yes, education is a need. My name is Songmi Yukida, and I thank you. See it. So how can technology benefit our lives? Well, it depends on how you see it. When I mention technology, Some people will think of electronics like smartphones, computer, iPads, and so on. Another group of people would think of high-tech, unrealistic, futuristic technologies in the future, maybe like flying cars, floating houses, and so on. Or another group of people would just think of simple things like a spray bottle or a wheelchair that uses wheels to move. It really depends on how you see technology. If you see it as in like scrolling through social media endlessly without doing anything, or just about being convenient or something like that, it's really not that good at all, because technology as a whole, if you only look at social media, it can create a cycle called mental masturbation, which in some cases is worse than sexual masturbation. I don't mean to get sexual here, but it really is the case for a lot of people in Thailand and all over the world. Everyone has done mental masturbation at least once in their lifetime, scrolling on social media and doing literally nothing. Your dopamine's just rising looking at your phone, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. But if you want to look at it positively, then there are a lot of things positive for technology. It's just like medication, or how do I say this? Finding a lot of information without having to search through any type of books at all. Because if you compare technology right now to technology back then, like maybe 1600s, 1800s, 1900s, we have none of that at all. We have literally zero gadgets to even look for information on Wikipedia, on any dictionaries. We have to search through books to find out, oh, what does this word mean? What does this word mean? Or if you want to look for something or information about someone, you just can search on the internet, which is quite impressive. If you're gonna compare, for example, vehicles like cars to wagons back then. Wagons, they're just wooden wheels, and then you have to use an animal. In this case, maybe some countries uses horses, buffaloes, elephants. It depends on the country you live in. And then the wagon's gonna move because of the animal. But now it's automatic. You just put your feet on the accelerator, and then your car is already going forward as fast as you like. And then another point I'm gonna make is medication. And considering that Thailand is a third world country or a second world country, there is one medication tool that actually sparks up to a lot of Thai people's minds, which is called the medbed. I recently just found out about it from my mom. My mom sounded really excited talking about the medbed, so I'm just gonna bring this up into this topic. Medbeds are basically like beds, but medical. Like, it looks really cool when you see it in a 3D model. It looks like a tunnel, and then there's a bed in the middle, and then once you like go through the tunnel, the doctors are gonna like push you in. It suddenly feels like, quote, magic. I read on an article. It makes you look younger, feel younger, but it won't reduce your actual age. That's impossible. But yeah, I find medbeds quite intriguing almost, because it's like two third world countries and second world countries. Medbeds are seen as very like, it's like an unrealistic high-tech thing that you would see somewhere in the future, which I really much hope that in the near future, medbeds are going to be available for all countries, because I feel like it's a really useful gadget. And not only medbeds, other surgical tools like those scissors where you used to cut your patient's stomach open for in labor or something like that. Those are really good too, because back then we had none of those. The only thing we're gonna push the baby out from your, you're gonna push the baby out from there, and we literally have no tools in the 1600s and so on. Literally, surgeons back then are non-existent almost. And yeah, to conclude all of this, it really depends on how you put technology in. If you put it in, like I said, just scrolling through social media or just using your gadgets to be comfortable with, then it's really not that good. But if you see technology as an evolving thing, like, oh, now it's like this, in the future, tomorrow it's gonna be bigger and then bigger and bigger, and then our world is gonna develop, then of course technology is a really good thing. It depends on how you see it, of course. My name is Tomomi Yukida, and I thank you for listening.